Chapter 2. My new father. Peggotty seemed very uncomfortable and fidgety as we waited for my mother to appear. Why hasn't she come out to the gate, and what have we come in here for? My eyes were full of tears. I was desperate to see my mother after 2 weeks and couldn't understand why she wasn't at the gate to meet me. I thought something terrible had happened to her. I turned to Peggotty and sobbed, "Not dead too! Oh, she's not dead, Peggotty!" Peggotty cried out, "No!" and sat down quickly. "Master Davy," she said, untying her bonnet and speaking in a breathless sort of way, "what made you think that your mother was dead? It's not that at all. You have a new father." I trembled as I thought about my father in the graveyard. I couldn't understand what Peggotty was saying. "A new one?" said Peggotty. "A new one," I repeated. "Come and see him," said Peggotty, holding her hand out to me. "I don't want to see him," I said. "He's with your mother," said Peggotty. Pulling me into the parlor, my mother sat on one side of the fire and on the other side sat Mr. Murdstone. My mother dropped her needlework and rushed towards me. "Now, Clara, my dear," said Mr. Murdstone sternly, "control yourself, always control yourself. Davy boy, how are you?" I shook his hand and ran to kiss my mother. She kissed me, patted me gently on the shoulder, and then sat down again to her needlework. I ran up to my room and cried myself to sleep. Suddenly I was woken by my mother saying, "Here he is." My mother and Peggotty had been looking for me. "Davy," said my mother. "Davy, my child, this is all your fault, Peggotty. You have turned my son against me. He doesn't love me any more." I didn't understand why my mother was so unkind to Peggotty. I felt another hand on my shoulder. It was Mr. Murdstone's. "Clara, my love, have you forgotten? Be firm, my dear. The boy needs discipline," he whispered into my mother's ear, telling her to go downstairs. After Peggotty and my mother had left the room, he shut the door. He sat down and said, "David, when I have a disobedient horse or dog, how do you think I deal with him? How do you think I deal with it?" "I don't know," I stammered. "I beat him. I say to myself that I will conquer that animal, even if it means bloodshed." "What is that upon your face, boy?" "Dirt," I replied. Even though we both knew it tears, I was sent to wash my face and then allowed to join my mother in the parlor. That evening, my new father's sister, Miss Murdstone, arrived to stay with us. She was an unhappy-looking woman. She began to help my mother, changing all of our arrangements and the way our home was run. One morning, my mother came down to breakfast and went to make the tea. Miss Murdstone looked at her and said, "Clara, my dear, I have come here to help you in running this house. You are too pretty and thoughtless to undertake such lowly duties. Give me your keys and I'll take care of everything in the future." My mother handed over the household keys and never touched them again. Nor did she have anything to do with the running of the house. I wasn't allowed to have friends to play with, and I became very lonely and depressed. The only comfort I had was a small collection of books left to me by my father. I loved to hold them close and imagine how life would have been if my father had lived. One morning I went into the parlor with my books and found my mother very upset. Standing next to her was a stern-looking Miss Murdstone, and by her side was Mr. Murdstone with a cane in his hand. My stepfather waved his cane around as I began my lessons. His being there upset me and made me nervous, so I made many mistakes. With every wrong answer that I gave, my mother cried louder. Eventually, Mr. Murdstone grabbed my arm and dragged me upstairs. I turned to my mother for help. Seeing my distress, my mother moved towards me but was stopped by Miss Murdstone, who said, "Clara, you are a perfect fool. Mr. Murdstone marched me up to my room, and once we were inside, he twisted my head under his arm. I cried out, 'Mr. Murdstone, sir, please don't beat me. I have tried to learn, sir, but I can't while you and Miss Murdstone are in the room. Really, I can't.' Mr. Murdstone ignored my pleas and beat me with his whip. After the first lash, I caught his hand between my teeth and bit through it. He then beat me as if he wanted to kill me. As he left, locking the door behind him, I slipped to the floor unconscious. Later that night, Miss Murdstone opened the door and gave me some bread, meat, and milk. She put it on the table and left, locking the door behind her. I was a prisoner in my room for 5 days. I was only allowed out of the room to walk in the garden for half an hour a day. In my memory, those 5 days seemed like 5 years. On the 5th night, Peggotty came to my door and whispered through the keyhole. She told me that I was being sent to a boarding school near London the following morning. "You must never forget me, Davy," she said. "I know I will never forget you. You are my own precious boy, and I love you. I will take care of your mother, just like I took care of you." I whispered back through the door, "Thank you, dear Peggotty, thank you." The next morning, Mr. Murdstone collected me from my room and took me to the parlour where my mother sat with red eyes and a very pale complexion. I ran to her and she held me in her arms until the cart arrived to take me away from everything I had known. It was the same cart that took Peggotty and I to Yarmouth. I didn't see Peggotty or Mr. Murdstone before I left. My mother held me away from her. "Goodbye, my child. You are going for your own good. Come back a better boy." Mr. Barks, the cart driver, lifted my books onto the cart and I climbed in. We had gone half a mile when the cart stopped. I was surprised when Peggotty climbed in and took me in both her arms. I couldn't speak through my tears, as I thought I would never see her again. Peggotty didn't speak but hugged me close. She slipped some cakes in my pocket and put a purse into my hand. Then, without speaking, she climbed down from the cart and hurried away. I opened the stiff leather purse and inside saw 3 bright shillings. Besides the coins was a folded piece of paper on which my mother had written, "For Davy, with my love." I started to cry again. Mr. Barks told me to dry my eyes, so I wiped my eyes on my sleeve and offered him a cake. Mr. Barks enjoyed the cake and asked if Peggotty had made it. "Yes," I said. "Peggotty makes all our pastries and does all our cooking." Mr. Barks then surprised me by asking if Peggotty was married. "Oh no, she's never been married," I replied quickly. For some reason, Mr. Barks appeared happy at this news and asked me if I wrote letters to her. When I noted that I did, he asked me to give her a message. He said that I was to tell Peggotty that Barks is willing. "That Barks is willing?" I repeated. "Is that all the message?" Mr. Barks confirmed that that was the message, and I asked him if he was taking me all the way. "All the way where?" inquired the carrier. "There," I said. "Where is there?" asked Mr. Barks. "Near London," I said. "Why, my horse would be dead long before he reached London," laughed Mr. Barks. I learned that I would transfer to a stagecoach when I arrived in Yarmouth. While waiting for the coach in the Yarmouth hotel, I wrote a note to Peggotty which said, "My dear Peggotty, I have come here safe. Barks is willing. Please give my love to mother. Yours affectionately. P.S. He says he particularly wants you to know Barks is willing." The coach was in the yard. A lady looked out of a window and asked, "Is that the little gentleman from Lander's tone. Yes, madam, I said. What name? Asked the lady. Copperfield, madam, I said. The lady hung further out of the window and said that nobody's dinner was paid for in that name. Is it Murdstone, madam? I asked. If you're Master Murdstone, said the lady, why did you give the name of Copperfield? I explained that I had a new stepfather and I didn't know which name he had used. A friendly waiter who asked me where I was going showed me into a large room and served chops and vegetables. To school, I replied through a mouthful of food. Near London, which was all I knew about my destination. We left Yarmouth at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We were due to arrive in London at 8 o'clock the following morning. I was squashed between two gentlemen and opposed an elderly woman in a great fur cloak. She had a basket with her and being short of space, pushed it under my short legs. I was crammed and completely miserable. As the sun got higher in the sky, my companions' sleep became lighter and they gradually awoke one by one.